Rose.
I don't know if I can do that.
Matey.
Welcome to the Sports Porch Podcast, mateys. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and anywhere you get your friggin' podcast. Yes, and you can always grab us at theporchislive.com. 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 Ahoy, matey.
Come aboard the ship.
All right, maybe I sound like SpongeBob. I don't know, but listen, guys, thanks for being here to the Sports Porch. We are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, I don't know, YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff.
Wherever you get your freaking podcast.
Yes. We are live on X.
You can always grab us on theporchislive.com.
Theporchislive.com.
Yep.
Theporchislive.com.
And as you can see, Hockey Jesus he is not he is I think it's that one right there.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go. I got it right. So Hockey Jesus is
in the house.
He is in the house on the banks, joining us remotely. Good to see you, Hockey Jesus. Good to see that you are alive, that the tide has not come in for you yet. And how's the weather down there?
Today was absolutely gorgeous. The weather couldn't have been better. We're getting some storms coming in tonight, which is perfectly fine. I love the storms coming in at night. You're not going to be on the beach. So it's so far it's been 1 day of vacation bliss.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Exciting.
Yeah. And you know, as fate would have it, I mean, you left Pittsburgh, and I do got to say, though, today was like one of the most beautiful days I've ever seen.
The best day we've had in years. Years, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome for that. But I can promise you my day was better.
I went surfing today.
Outer Banks or Inner Banks?
We go to the Outer Banks.
Is there an Inner Banks?
If you like the Gulf side of the Outer Banks.
Are there fringe banks? Do they have fringe banks?
I think we need to get off this conversation.
Are you sure you don't want to talk at all about your OBX sign on your car?
Yeah, right. Seriously.
Everybody has an OBX sign on their car in Pittsburgh, Mark.
Yeah,
it's like a rite of passage.
Yeah.
Right.
And does everybody in the Outer Banks have a PGH sign on their car? Is it like if you live in the Outer Banks, you visit Pittsburgh for a vacation? Do you do that?
I can tell you, of the 5 houses in the little area that I'm in, 3 of them have nothing but Pennsylvania license plates in them.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yep. True.
Well, we always need a vacation.
How long of a drive is it down there?
Well, we don't go. If you go nonstop, you can make it in about 9.5 hours.
That's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible
either.
But we usually break it up on the way down, and then on the way back, we just go straight through.
So
it's a long drive. It is.
Okay.
It's a long drive.
Yeah.
All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to thank everybody who listens to the Buccos Report after every Pirates game on the podcast on iHeart, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And listen, we got a new character on the Buccos Report. He's the pirate. What I need to do is I need to name the pirate. So you guys are going to have to come up with a good name. If you're watching, drop us a chat. And also we always have room for phone calls. If you want to give us a call into our live show, we're going to talk about that. Of course, I don't see the phone number on the ticker here. So let's we'll
just call whatever number you like.
Yeah, just call. Just call a phone and we'll be good. So as far as, you know, last week, what I put up there was who are the Buccos going to trade at the trade deadline? Keller, Bednar, Kutch, Santana. Tell us what you think. And of course, they did trade Santana. And we know, and
we all agreed to that, by the way. We all thought that they should have traded him.
Absolutely. So now, I guess the question is, if you're out there listening, or if you're out there watching us, you can call us at 412-805-7236. And the question is, do you think they're going to make another trade? They have less than 24 hours, and as you've checked, and nothing is coming.
No, I don't know. I don't know if they are.
Yeah, I listened to the Ben Charrington show yesterday, and of course they all talk in code. And the thing about that is he basically said, we could be good standing pat, or, you never know, the phone could ring, so, you get no help there. Yeah, Steve, I'll put this to you because I feel like you haven't had too many old fashions yet. And by the end of the show, I don't know, we might not get any answers out of you that are worth listening to. So
let's go now, because once this is done, it's all over.
It's over. Okay. So what, you're on number like 5? Is that the deal here?
Well, only my second whiskey drink, but probably my 6th drink for the day.
Okay. All right. We'll have a talk when you get home. So,
no, I always go in the detox when I come home.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Well, hey, by the way, I just got to show you this. This is what it's about right here. Look at all those people eating over there.
Yeah.
What's that, family?
It's a fight for food. This is how I grew up.
That's a horrifying situation. So, do the Pirates make another trade?
That's right. My dad just mentioned that I have never grown up yet. So
yeah,
at least
seems like you have a nice family life, Steve.
Stating the obvious.
Not everybody does.
Yeah.
Way to rub it in their faces.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks.
Oh yeah, and the house we're staying at is just fantastic. All right, what do you want me to talk about? Pirates? I'm going.
Do the Pirates make a trade in the next 14 hours?
Oh yeah, they're gonna dump somebody else off.
You think
I don't
so?
know. Yeah, I think they will. I mean, why not? I mean, that's what they do. They're so used to getting rid of players, like it just comes naturally. Like when somebody calls and gives them the price that they're looking for, they're just gonna do it. I mean, it's just like it's an involuntary reaction in them to do do that.
What's the price they're looking for, though? I mean, we had
I don't know. Like let's say somebody wants Bednar. I'm just making up a name. I don't know that it's going to be Bednar. I hope it's not Bednar. Well, let's just say somebody says, we'll give you our top-notch prospect, and we'll give you a draft pick and something else. Maybe two draft.
Maybe a new pierogi uniform for one of those pierogies. They're so dirty.
That sour.
I just think they're so pre-programmed to do that. I just don't see them saying no to somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's just the way I feel about it. Do I hope? I think at this point, I hope they don't really get rid of anybody else. I already said, I don't want them getting rid of Keller, even though he's not been that great lately.
Arbitration year coming up. Arbitration year.
I know. And that would be the guy they would get rid of because they know they're going to have to give him like 15 or 20 million next year, right?
Right.
So I mean, that would definitely be a guy if they could feel like they get prospects for it would be easy to do.
I got to interrupt here. Greg Ridnour, hello from Palm Beach, Florida, from North Braddock. Thanks.
Hey, North
Thank
Braddock.
you, Greg, for being here.
Nice.
My wife and I love Palm Beach. We spend a lot of time down there, so I'm jealous, buddy. So
I think he upgraded when he moved from North Braddock to West Palm Beach.
Yeah,
Are you sure?
Yeah, North Braddock, not exactly a great area.
Yeah, well, I thought Fetterman turned it around.
I'm just kidding.
Well, he did, but then he left, so now it's back to where it was.
So
no, but you know what I mean, Chris. I mean, it's just it's the natural thing for the Pirates organization to do, and it's kind of disgusting, but what are you gonna do?
Mark's never been to North Braddock, Greg. He's just messing around.
Yeah, he has no idea where it is.
I have no idea where it is. It's probably great.
Yeah, I know exactly where it is. So and I drive through it all the time. So here's the thing. I read Mark Madden's column in the Trib today. Okay.
What did he say? I'm not in town, so I didn't get to read it.
Basically, what he said in a nutshell was that this is the big con game that Pirates management and ownership always puts on, that the Santana trade was an obvious move. The prospect we got back, who's 18 years old, isn't going to see the major leagues for probably at least 2 or 3 years, and that we will know for sure if the con game is on again, if they trade a Bednar or a Keller, and he thinks that Rich Hill is probably gone. I have been on that bandwagon as far as that goes too. I'm not completely convinced Rich Hill is gone, only because he is a veteran presence. He's very savvy. He pitches hard. He look, he's a good employee. He does his job. But I'm not sure that any team in contention would really want him, because the advantage that he brings is stability and innings and a work ethic, but it's not like you're going to put him out there in a very unique situation and he's your guy.
You'd only trade for him if you want to save your bullpen, you know, have him as an inning leader.
Right.
Good point. So, yes.
But back to Madden's column, it was totally like and I think we all know where Mark Madden is, and what he does. What I like about him is what he does is he says what we're all afraid to say, which is, "Come on, don't get your hopes up. This was never a rebuilding situation to begin with." And a lot of people are saying, "Well, this is year 4 of 5 of the rebuild." Well, what did that mean? I mean, a rebuild means year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have progress. Granted, the first month of the season, we saw progress, but ever since then, we saw the same old. So, I honestly have no idea. Nothing would surprise me. It would not surprise me if Bednar is gone by tomorrow evening. It would not surprise me if Keller was gone by tomorrow evening. It would not surprise me if anybody other than Reynolds was gone by tomorrow evening. Now, here's the thing. They're playing basically an all-rookie team. I mean, that's what it is. And the great part about it was that, I watched them make the Phillies look like they were actually worse than them the last 2 games. And I'm sorry, Schwaber, but
They did.
Yeah. And I think that we have a little professionalism here, Steve. Let's keep those significant children out of the screen.
Children.
You know what I think we should do? I think we should have a studio at the Outer Banks that I could go to.
That's
then
a great idea.
Easier.
Yeah, that's a great.
Let's work on that for next year.
Start franchising.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Franchising. Hey, Mohammed.
Once we do that, I'll add a little professionalism.
Mohammed chimes in on Facebook and says, "I love Pittsburgh. I love people living in Pittsburgh. I was living for 4 years. Now I am living in California, and I am still missing Pittsburgh." Well,
wow, a 4-year guy. Nice.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here,
Mohammed.
Yeah, and that's what we love. We're all over the world. Pittsburgh people are everywhere, and if you come to this city, there's just something magic about it.
I love people living in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
but there's nothing magical about the Pirates. I mean, you're right.
Absolutely nothing.
You're right. I mean, the Pirates are garbage, and I'll tell you what.
But you're right.
I don't mind the fact that they're playing a rookie team now. I think that's the future, right? So yeah. I'm good with that, and I'm okay with them getting rid of Rich Hill, because let's face it, the guy's over. He's done with. His career is done after this year or next year. He doesn't fit into the Pirates' plans. If they can get even a couple $100,000 for him, I'm okay with that. Like I'm okay with that.
Where's my wallet? Yeah, I mean.
But the reality is, when you're talking about a closer and a top-notch starter, you got to keep those guys. Those are the guys you got to keep, Yeah. And I understand what Mark Madden's trying to say. I actually agree with him, but come on, picking on Rich Hill, that's easy to pick on. If they do get rid of Bednar, if they do get rid of Keller, I think those are probably the 2 guys left. I'd love to see them get rid of the catcher. Clearly Indy Rodriguez can play that position.
Definitely.
And he's much, much better at it than the jabroni that was back there before.
Hedges. Yeah. Now
get rid of
him.
Get rid of those guys. They don't fit into the plans for the next 2 or 3 years.
Some outlets have reported, now I haven't read them personally, I just heard another station talking about this, that there have been teams, go figure, who have expressed an interest in Austin Hedges. Why?
I heard that too, but I don't believe it.
I don't believe that either. He's garbage, man. I mean, maybe he's a leader in the locker room. Good. Send him
well,
off.
he led them right into the gutter, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
actually, I can't say that it was just him, but right. I mean,
but I mean, he doesn't fit into the plans for the Pirates for the foreseeable future. Not even really for this year. Now that Indy's, I mean, he's really good.
Indy is good.
He's excellent. I don't care about what he does behind the plate. Anybody can catch the ball at this level if they've been playing catcher for a while. And actually, I think it's messing with Henry Davis, to be honest with you, because I think Davis feels like he could have been that guy behind the plate, and now he's like all mixed up with his hitting because he's trying to learn a new position. And that was when he was drafted #1 overall. It was like that's what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be a great hitter, and now it's messing with his hitting, and that's what the Pirates do terribly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say this, though. I mean, I was a doubter in the beginning, but I'll tell you that Henry Davis does have a gun from the outfield.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he's got to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah, if he can learn it, it might not be a bad spot for him.
Well, here's the thing about the Davis play. So Shelton said on his show before the game yesterday, they're asking him this question all the time. Davis has only played 1 inning at catcher since he's been up, 3 outs. You know, what are the plans for him? And Shelton said after the trade deadline, we're going to, try to work him in a catcher a little bit more. My feeling is, and I know it's funny, the Pirates are a very fluid situation because of this constant rebuilding scenario they're always in. And my feeling on this is Davis is an athlete first. And he's also his work ethic has already become something of legend in the Pirates clubhouse. He's always full speed. He's always trying to learn. And I love watching the kid's attitude.
I wouldn't say he's a legend at like 4 weeks in.
No. His work ethic, not that he's a good Lord, Hall of Fame, Henry Davis, Hall of Fame.
Henry Davis,
Brock Purdy. No, what I'm saying is that I know I was down on this whole idea of him not catching when he first came up, but that was because our everyday catcher was Austin Hedges,
right?
And he was your 1-1 pick. Now you bring up Endy Rodriguez, who is absolutely an everyday catcher all the way, and also has a hell of a bat. And when the game slows down for him,
although I will say this, he does look pretty good, but remember, teams kind of catch on, and I was looking, and his last 2 at bats, they didn't throw him a single fastball, and they just threw him all like curves, like down and away, and he looked bad, striking out twice.
Well, and that's something you have to catch up to. I'm with you.
I wouldn't just, rush right into he's going to be a great hitter. I mean, he's like hitting 240.
Yeah, no, I know. I get you. It's not that he's going to be a great hitter. It's just that he's got
you have hope.
I have hope. Thank you. So
and on top, I mean, he's got the Sawinski effect when it comes to that, because that's what they do with Sawinski.
I don't even know what the hell they're doing with that.
He's going to figure it out. He'll figure it out, no doubt. I'm 100% sure that these guys will figure it out. The question is when they figure it out, will they be any good? And will that be next year, the year after, or in year 3 from now?
Well, and
I got to give them a little bit of time.
I can't make that prediction, obviously, but what I will say is now that we know that Endy is kind of the guy they're targeting to be their catcher, watching Henry Davis play out in right field, he's got an arm that is, if he learns how to play the position and remains that everyday right fielder, he's got an arm that is probably it's going to end up being one of the best arms in the league. I mean, it is unbelievable how far and how accurate and how quickly he can get that ball out of his glove. And that's part of being a catcher, is being able to, throw to second or first or snap throws. But I like that. I like Endy at catcher. I do like Josh Palacios. I don't know where he really fits into things. And the big thing that we're not talking about, nobody is talking about.
Wait, who did you say? Josh
Palacios. He had a 2-run homer to win the game last night in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, but is he like somebody who's going to play every day for the Pirates?
He could be. Yeah.
He's a bench player now, though, right?
Well, he was starting, and then he went into a little bit of a slump. and he's a Rule 5 guy. He's a pretty good pinch hitter.
He's hitting 252.
Yeah,
had a couple good games.
He can play the outfield. He can play the infield. I think there's a spot for him on this roster. I think the G1 Bay experiment is over.
Thank God.
I can tell you right now that Triolo, was it the last game or the game before? He made just an unbelievable stop, and then a throwing error.
But maybe a good first baseman catches it.
That's what I was saying. Connor Joe was not tall enough to catch the damn ball, or it would have been a highlight reel play.
Right.
So the point is, they have the makings of a bunch of people, a bunch of kids that look like they're going to be at the worst serviceable major league players, and you can have some above average, maybe all-star quality guys, and you've got them at a lower price. Dan Rupert chimes in, the Pittsburgh prospects, Pirates, need to find a way to keep the prospects. So here's one point that Madden made, and as time ticks by and no news comes in, we don't know what's going to happen, but he said you knew damn well they weren't going to trade David Bednar the day that they were going to have the Yinzer Palooza bobblehead.
Right.
Well, in fairness, the Pittsburgh Penguins did trade, their prospect when it was Dad's weekend. So, I don't think that had anything to do with it. Yeah. I think they're actually going to keep him. I think they're going to keep him.
I think they are too, to be honest with you there.
They'll probably keep him. I mean,
yeah. Well, you can't trade Bednar and or Keller and continue saying that you are working the rebuild plan.
Right. You can't.
Well, they can. They can.
Right.
And if they do, that's what they'll say.
Yes.
But they would have to.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
You'd have to get a haul. They'd have to get like 3 top 100 prospects or something.
Yeah. And another good point Madden made was, Mitch Keller, who knows, he regressed a little bit in the second half here. But if your plan is to get Skeens up to the major leagues next year, and you're hoping that he is the phenom that he looks to be,
he will be.
Right, but you're going to waste him if you don't have a follow-up starter who is good. It's going to be the same situation this year. You got Mitch Keller, who's going to pitch really well, and then you got nothing after that. And I honestly think, you look at Quinn Priester.
I like him. I think he's had a couple good starts.
Well, he's had average starts. He's gotten run support is what it is.
Yeah, he was pretty bad actually in the last Philly start, but he just had good fortune.
I would say he was like average in the last, maybe a little bit below.
He pitched 5 innings and gave up 5 runs.
Yeah, right. So
I would say that's average.
And he had 5 walks.
Yeah, and I think and that's a little below
that's
average.
The problem. You're right about that. Yeah, 5 walks is too many. Yeah.
I don't think the Pirates, I think if you take away this consistent hamster wheel of rebuilding bullshit, I think there is also a fundamental issue in the Pirates coaching system, because they talk about guys like Keller, guys like Quinn Priester, other guys like Ronzi Contreras, who's only 23. I think they screw these guys' mechanics up. I think they try to change the way they pitch, because Quinn Priester, before he came up, he was touted as a guy that had good velocity as well as different pitches. By the time he got to the major leagues, he had lost 3 to 4 miles an hour. And I heard Bob Walk even say it, that doesn't just happen.
Yeah. How does that happen?
That happens with you're trying to instill your coaching philosophy and your philosophy on pitching on a guy, instead of letting a guy be himself and adjusting to that. And they're forcing these guys to pitch outside of themselves. So they're kind of losing the groove that they have. And I think that's an organizational issue. So,
well, if that's true, then the Pirates are absolutely screwed, because that's all they have. I mean, they've got nothing but great pitching, and if they can't develop that pitching in the number 1 picks in the great pitchers, they're in big trouble forever. Yeah. Literally. I mean,
well, Skeens fortunately doesn't need coaching.
Yeah. Well,
right. Hopefully. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not like he's in charge.
Yeah, he isn't.
Yeah, but he'll just go out and throw by people.
Yeah, I think
right.
He's
That's
the kind of guy. He's kind of like Nolan Ryan in that sense. He'll be like, screw this. I'm just bringing the heat. Yeah.
Or Garrett Cole, right?
Yeah.
Garrett Cole just came in and said, I'm just going to throw strikes. Nobody can hit me, and you don't have to coach me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So we shall see. The next 24 hours are going to be very telling. If Bednar and Keller are still around, then
is that the deadline tomorrow?
6:00 tomorrow.
At 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you're gonna go live there, technical director.
No, but the Pirate may make an appearance. They are playing Detroit tonight. I think.
Yeah, what's the score?
Yeah, let's check.
I was pulling in the Outer Banks yesterday, and Detroit was beating the shit out of a team 5-0.
Yeah.
I forget who they played, but they look like they could hit the ball all over.
Well, Detroit is basically close to the same record as the Pirates right now.
Yeah.
And I'm actually I'm actually wrong. It's tomorrow night.
Are off
it's because it's a 2-game set. So D-backs land closer Seawald from the Mariners. The players most likely, I don't know. It's so hard to predict because the Pirates have always been predictably bad.
There you go. Tigers played the Marlins. That's who they were playing, Graves. Yeah.
Thanks. So the
Marlins are pretty good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the wild card right now.
Yeah, they were hitting the shit out of the ball against the Marlins.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm still doing the Buccos report, guys. I'm still, I missed one game because of a little family issue, but other than that, man, I would say that I get a pass for that. So I've impressed myself, and they're
very impressive. I mean, that is
really hard.
So many games.
It is a lot of games.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah,
I listen to probably every 2 out of 3, I would say I listen to, and they're incredible. I do. I like learn something every time I listen to it.
You learn that I can talk like a pirate.
Well, I mean, the last 2, of course. Yeah. But I was like, oh, okay. He's definitely gone over the edge.
Yes. Listen, when you're behind the microphone and you do what we do, people want you to go over the edge. It's how you get your personality out there. So with that, I'm going to say your Buccos report after every Pirates game on the podcast.
Speaking of going over the edge, that's how much
podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your friggin' podcasts, matey. And thank you for listening to the Buccos report. All you swashbucklers out there, let's go Bucks.
Wow. This is what I'm talking about. He needs a break.
It's the best part of the Pirates season.
Yeah.
So
I could not agree with you more.
I got to give you credit for that.
I could not agree with you more. Okay, that's enough about the Buccos.
Much left. Come on, boys.
We better hurry up or we're going to lose Steve forever. Okay.
Let's bring it back to the Steelers.
Let's bring it back to I think we said something similar to that on the Phillies show. I'm going to find the ticker for the Steelers. Okay, so this is training camp is right around the corner. But it's not, so I'm going to change that.
It's on go.
Training camp. I'm just going to say
here.
Steelers finally. Expectations. Lines are open. Tell us, Steve. What are you thinking here? Joey Porter. How's he look right now?
So Joey Porter looks like he got run over by a George Pickens.
Yeah, which I would expect. I mean,
to be fair, Pickens has done that to people in NFL games.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, and everybody agreed on this point, that George Pickens actually would have probably gotten called for a penalty on the play because he literally just manhandled him, just shoved him down, and then ran by him and caught a touchdown pass. But I guess Tomlin was pretty. I don't know how to say this the proper way, so I don't care to say it the proper way. He basically got on Joey Porter's ass and said, "You got pwned," basically. And
what does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean?
Pwned.
Pwned.
Pwoned. Pwned.
P-O-W.
Look it up. All the kids are using it.
Like
pwned. Yeah.
P-O-W-N-E-D.
No. P-W. Owned.
There's a hyphen?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Mark.
P hyphen what?
I feel like I'm talking a bunch of geezers now.
This is getting way too ridiculous and way too difficult.
The bottom line is George Pickens basically said to the rookie, you're going to have to own your position. And that's fine. I think it's fun. Actually, the fact that they did it without pads on, the fact that they don't wear pads in the first week is just ridiculous to me. Well, it's like if you're in camp, you're going to put the pads on, you're going to go out there and you're going to knock some heads in the helmets. I mean, that's the way it works. But I guess in the NFL, you get the first week off. So be it. The other thing I'm looking at, remember, I said
Pwned in the dictionary.
Well, there you go. Urban Dictionary. I hope you look.
Poser lingo for the internet slang word pwned, as in being owned or disgraced by someone else.
He definitely got pwned.
I'm still worried about. I'm worried about the P on that. What is that? What's the P?
Actually, you want to know where it came from?
Yeah, sure.
I know the history on this. There was a Fortnite, a very famous Fortnite guy who, instead of type owned, I owned you, he typed in the P instead of owned, and it said pwned. So then everybody started using it. Actually, I think it was on Twitch.
By the way, there's another use of pwned, and we can't say it on the air.
Yeah, it's let's just.
Well, I wish I was in the studio for that, but I'll look it up later.
Let's just say it involves words such as ram
and uck.
And you can use it in a word like I pwned you.
I think I know where you're going with that,
or
director.
You just, oh my God, you just suffered some major pwnage. You just suffered some major blank ramage.
Let's bring it back to the
there
Steelers.
You go. This is another show entirely.
It is.
I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am.
Yeah.
Okay, now that we've established that Joey Porter has a problem, Calvin Austin the third. Okay, now I'm the guy last week that said I have no idea why there should be any.
Can we talk about Broderick Jones first before
you want to do that?
Calvin Austin third, yeah.
And if
this one bothers me the most.
If we're sticking with the pwned, the pwned system, we're going to talk about Broderick Jones, BJ. Go ahead.
I kind of like that, BJ.
Yeah,
because that's what he's getting right now. Broderick Jones should be running with the first team, but
why isn't he? Why isn't
Dan Moore Jr. is giving, and he's basically saying, "Hey, Dan Moore, this drives me crazy. I'm gonna explode here because Dan Moore Jr. is nothing but he's a backup guy, right?
He's a swing tackle.
But because he came in in great shape, he came in with a good attitude, and he's a veteran, he gets to still run with the first team, and it drives me crazy. The guy is not talented. I'm sorry, but he's not as talented as a first-round pick, and I don't care. I don't care at all the fact that they play Joey, Boza. He's going to play against Boza. He's going to play against what's his face from
all
the
those
Browns.
Guys. Yeah.
And he's going to play against Mason Crosby, right? I don't care about that. The
Isn't
guy
Mason
has
Crosby
to learn.
a kicker? Isn't Mason Crosby a kicker?
Max Crosby.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if Broderick Jones faced Mason Crosby, he'd probably win that matchup.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not according to Tomlin, clearly, because he's on the second team. And it drives me crazy. It's like you spend their first round pick on this guy. Just put him in there. Just say, we believe in you. Like, get in there and do it.
Well,
and then when he doesn't do it, then you can put the backup in and bring him out and say, look, this is what you were doing wrong. But you got to make the guy like the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
Steve's
been
filled with a lot of good ones the last couple of weeks. What did you say last week? Something about this was the year that was supposed to be next year, but
the Pirates. I thought that this year,
yeah,
next year would have been this year, but this year ended up being what we all thought this year, not next year.
Well, that was different than what you originally said, anyway. But it was still good. It was still good. And what I like is, if this is the guy, then you've got to let this be the guy.
Yeah,
let him be the guy. Yeah. He's a first-round pick. Treat him like a first-round pick. Treat him like a true talent. Put him in there and make him lose it. Like if he loses it, then he loses it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't think that that's any different than a lot of.
Well, I mean, I get the idea. The idea is like make him work for it, make him earn it, and maybe you buy a little panache with your offensive lineman, feeling like he was given at least a fair shake.
That's definitely not a pirate word, panache.
Yeah, I know. I threw a little panache in there.
Oh, I think you got the panache, matey.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, so I get the approach, but I still would probably go more along the lines of what Steve is doing here. You draft somebody that high in the first round, it should pretty much automatically be assumed they're a starter. They're at least a starter somewhere. Yeah. If they're not starting it, if you want them to be the long-term answer at left tackle, but you really want, your left tackle to remain there, you find somewhere else on the offensive line for him to play.
Yeah. And I think with Joey Porter, he'll get into the secondary at some point. You know what I mean? You got Levi Wallace there. You got Patrick Peterson. You got two veteran cornerbacks. I would hate to see Joey Porter go out there and just get abused by, Calvin Ridley. I'm just making up a name, right? But somebody like that, and just put him in there in certain situations when it makes sense. Because I think he can learn from those situations better in a selective, because you're going to play 5 defensive backs all the time. He's going to be the first defensive back that's coming in no matter what. Right. So he's going to learn to play the position even if he doesn't start. But with an offensive lineman, like you're not like switching him out in situations. Right. You got to play him. You got to play the guy. You don't want him on the sidelines. He's not learning anything by being on the sidelines.
That's true, but I guess this is the way the Steelers have done it for a long time.
I know, and that's why they haven't made the freaking playoffs in the last 6 years. That's why they haven't been a Super Bowl in like 16 years.
Yeah.
Fuck that way. I'm sorry, but it's bullshit.
That's the whiskey talking.
I'm tired of it. No, I'm tired of it. I know the Steeler way is a great way, but the reality is you've got to treat your best talent with the way that makes sense. And what makes sense is get him out there and make him learn.
Let the guy be the guy.
Yeah, I whatever. Jeff Grabs, as you said, that's a horrible nickname for anyone to have, by the way.
Graves. It's Graves.
Oh, Graves. Yeah, it's only because you don't want to shorten the A. Right. Jeff Grabs.
Right.
What is Jeff Grabs?
Because then he would be Grabs.
What is Jeff Grabs? Yeah, Grabs is, that was.
What are you talking about?
That was, Schwaber's always like that. Jeff Grabiak, I get his nickname is Graves. And I said,
well, how
Grabs.
Do you even know that?
Because Steve knows him.
Oh, he's a friend of Steve.
Yeah, catch up.
Well, he actually graduated with my brother. He actually graduated with my brother.
Steve made
I blame Steve.
Steve.
No, you went down that rabbit hole, Mark. I didn't make you go to the second definition.
He texted that to me, and now I can't stop looking at it. I can't stop thinking about it.
I texted it to you too, Steve.
Yeah, good luck.
Wait till you see some of the alternative definitions.
Yep.
Oh, wait, I'm going to look at it now. Why
don't you toss that around the family dinner table right now?
Yeah, it's not going to go over too well.
Yeah. Here, have another piece of pizza and read this text from Mark. Brad Trombley is in the house, headed to Milwaukee.
Brad, what's up, Brad?
For a few games this weekend. Good evening, Brad. Thank you for being here. You're watching the Sports Porch on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And of course, we drop the podcast right after the show, the Sports Porch podcast on the iHeartRadio iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And you can always visit our website. Right. It's good. Yeah. It's good. Yeah. At theporcheslive.com, theporcheslive.com,
theporcheslive.com.
There you go. We are talking Steelers right now. Broderick Jones. Here's what I'll say about Broderick Jones. Just relax, Steve. If Broderick Jones is the beast of a tackle that we think he can be,
BJ. He will be.
I got a feeling that BJ will be starting by the second game of the season, if not the first. And then we'll just go from there.
I actually think they're going to do the wrong thing, and they're going to wait until game 4 after all these superstars are passed.
No, I think you're going to see BJ upright.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Between that and Pwned, what a night. All right. I was saying last week there shouldn't be any hype around Calvin Austin III, only because he has done nothing in the NFL whatsoever. Now,
we talked about that last week, and I agree with you. I just merely point out that he dropped the pass, but actually since then he's looked pretty good. So, I'm not worried about Calvin Austin III, but I would, and this was not on the original list, I would like to talk about Allen Robinson.
Well, lay it on us. First, Brad says, wow, it's rated R tonight. Well, Brad, that's actually a step back because usually before the show, it's rated XXX. So what do you think? I personally have not even considered Allen Robinson in my thoughts about the Steelers because they have a history of bringing in guys like him that end up kind of being like extra pieces. So I'm not even up to date on what he's doing in camp. So fill me in. Obviously, you want to talk about him for a reason.
Well, the reason I want to talk to him, you're right, by the way. They do have a history of bringing in like has-beens, guys who've been good. But actually, I think Allen Robinson is probably one of the more talented guys that they have brought in. Mm-hmm. And the reason I want to talk about him is because I guess he's gotten this rapport with Pickens, where Pickens is kind of like picked up on Allen Robinson's like professionalism and like how to be a really good wide receiver in the league.
And that's good.
That's really good because once again, we don't need what happened with the last 3 wide receivers that we had happen with George Pickens. And it looks like Allen Robinson's like willing to mentor him. And, Allen Robinson back in the day was just a phenomenal talent.
He was good.
He was really good as soon as 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He really
he was a burner. Yeah.
And I think, once again, I think he's going to play that slot position. So I think he's going to be just, a third wide receiver. He's not going to have great stats this year, but the fact that he's doing that, Pickens and him have great rapport. I'm really interested to see what happens with Deontay Johnson because, Deontay Johnson kind of got a little injured last week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep. It's nothing major. He's not going to miss any time, but I think it'll be real interesting to see what happens if Allen Robinson starts playing that veteran presence for George Pickens, and maybe becomes more of a factor than we thought it would be. And I think the Steelers always thought that, by the way, when they brought these veteran wide receivers in that have some really good talent. But this time it looks like it might be sticking a little bit more, and maybe it's because George Pickens is a little bit better of a talent. You know what I mean? And so maybe he's willing to learn a little bit more about not making the fancy catches, but just making the everyday catches and not running backwards like Deontay, but running forwards like Allen Robinson would.
Well, and that's the thing about Pickens last year that, I was going to reserve any sort of criticism on the way he played because, the situation the Steelers were in, with Kenny Pickett being a brand new quarterback thrust into the spotlight, and you never knew what was going on there. The acrobatic catches that he made, fantastic, but that's not every catch in the NFL. Right. And what I would want to see this year out of Pickens, and I alluded to this the last week, and we'll be talking about this as the season progresses, is what I want to see from this guy is running routes and catching the ball where the quarterback is placing the ball. It's out in front of you, you're running the route, catch and run, not, I got to stretch 5 feet over everybody else, grab it with one finger, make a circus catch, keep it in bounds, and boom. Because those are usually the plays where it's like you're saving the drive. What you want to see are more of those routine plays where you're moving the ball at a good pace and you just keep making progress. So if Allen Robinson is turning into a mentor for Pickens or Pickett's, Pickens. I always get those names mixed up, even
you
though
got it right.
Pickett to Pickens.
Yeah. So to Pickens, maybe the signal there is that Pickens is more mature and he's willing to take somebody on as a mentor. And I have a feeling that Allen Robinson could end up being a security blanket for Kenny Pickett, which wouldn't be a bad thing either.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Sort of like an additional tight end.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the guy. He's the guy who understands when the coverage is broken and he's got an opportunity, or when there's a space and he can sit in that space, and then Kenny learns how to, because if you look at the most successful quarterbacks, even the Patrick Mahomes in the league, that guy understands when Travis Kelce is sitting down in space, that's his outlet.
Right.
So, once you learn that you don't have to hit the big play every time and you just take what you can get, and then you have a guy like Allen Robinson who understands where to be when that happens. So he naturally knows that this guy's going to be looking here in the event that, I think that could line up to be something good. As far as my predictions go, well, we'll just have to get to that in a couple weeks, because I think we have an open book.
You're not going to give away any secrets.
No secrets tonight.
Okay.
We've done
enough. We'll have to hang on.
We're talking about enough secrets with all the ones we're looking up.
Well, what you said about Allen Robinson is definitely right on, because I did hear of a play where it was kind of a broken play where Pickett had to roll out and Allen Robinson just improvised and he ended up going deep and he ended up getting wide open and Pickett hit him deep, for a good game.
And that's what we want to see.
That's exactly what a veteran does. And if Pickett can get on the same page, with Allen Robinson in that situation, that's just that would be incredible for the offense, I think, because that's what Big Ben used to do when he was young. A lot of broken plays, somebody got open and you just hit the open guy, usually deep. And if Pickens can start doing that this year, I think that'll go a long way towards making them, more playoff worthy. I'm not sure if they're going to be playoff worthy this year, but like you, I'll reserve my judgment for when we make those judgments.
Yeah.
Again, we'll wait.
What did you think about Joe Burrow going down?
Oh, dude, you know what I thought?
Yay.
Well, actually,
I was so happy.
Yes.
I was like, yes, he's out for the year. I texted my brother, who's, an emergency room doctor. He watched the play. He was like, I don't know, man, that could be ACL. You never know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, please, I want to hear all those Cincinnati pukes just crying their faces off,
And then you know what happened
then I found out.
Yeah, because you wanted something bad to happen. It was karma. Evil.
Yep.
Evil came back on you.
Just a calf injury. That's all.
What happened? Did Steve get hurt?
No. Joey Burrow's going to be okay.
Oh.
Yeah, he's going to be fine.
That's evil. Yeah. That's evil coming back on Steve.
Well,
Joey Burrow being okay.
Somebody ill will.
I know.
I honestly, the way I feel about Burrow. I think he's totally overrated. I don't think he's going to get back to the Super Bowl. I don't think he's ever going to win a Super Bowl. I think Burrow and that Bengals team is just like the Steelers' talented team from 8 years ago. They're gonna end up playing well they're going to play well in the regular season. They'll make the playoffs and they'll underperform in the playoffs. And then that team will totally disband.
You're thinking it's Carson Palmer, Chad Ochocinco, TJ Houshmandzadeh round 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. Actually, I think this team is more talented, clearly, because they've already made a Super Bowl, so they've already overperformed from where I think they should be. And I think because they've made it there, they think they can make it there again, and it's really hard to make it there again. I mean, ask Dan Marino and Mark Clayton and Mark Duper if they thought they were going to make multiple Super Bowls. They would have said yes, and they never saw another Super Bowl again. Not one.
I mean, that's a good point. And that has, and Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas went to 4 straight, and they couldn't win.
Couldn't win a single one.
That was for Pat on track. So,
and if what's his name makes that kick, they probably win 4 straight.
I know. Very possible.
I know. It's so true.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Maybe in an alternative universe. Yeah. I'm sure we'll talk about it someplace down the road.
we all know there are.
Oh wait, we already talked about it in the alternative universe.
Yeah. Yes, the Matrix. So, I completely disagree with you on the Joe Burrow situation, but you know what? The black and gold bias is just pouring out of your veins. So I can't. All right, Steve's done for the night. He's out. Yeah, no,
I still got this much left.
Oh my God!
And another week and no Penguins news.
Anything?
No, it's the same stuff. Carlson's holding on.
What in the hell is going on? Could they just trade for this guy?
Dude, I'm telling you, San Jose does think that he's worth $1 billion.
Where's Shell Samuelson when you need him?
Here's what's going to happen. Schwaber. You're going to get on the phone. You're going to call Dubas, okay?
Call
and
him up.
We're going to offer the hockey Jesus as part of the package, and that will seal the deal.
No, I'm not going to San Jose. I'm not going to San Jose.
Listen, man, you're under contract. You don't have a choice. You can hold out, you can sit out, but at least we'll have Carlson.
I'm not going.
Who wants us to trade? I don't want to trade the hockey Jesus. I'm just kidding.
No.
But I do think it would seal the deal, don't you?
My daughter did a pretty good job in the pre-show. Maybe you could put her in.
Why are you really baiting? That's a horrible thing. Don't, Schwaber, don't say a word.
No, I'm just
he said we could offer up his daughter as part of the trade.
No, I'm saying when I get traded and I'm in San Jose doing the sports porch in San Jose.
I mean, and look,
my daughter could fill in.
I think Leah is a delightful young lady, but I will also say her performance was underwhelming.
She knows nothing about sports. This much.
But I will say that the issue you were having, and look, I am a man who admits my mistakes. The issue that we were having with the audio, that was the technical director's fault, not yours. I had the audio turned down on the board here.
Well, honestly, it was muted on Spreaker too. So
yeah, but that was after I was telling Leah we can't hear you. You have an issue, and then you guys are messing around. And I looked over and I'm like, oh, it's because I had them turned off.
Your daughter Leah obviously has a pretty high opinion of herself. She just came right on and was like, "I am blonde. I am beautiful."
Yeah,
I don't know where
it is true. It is true. She definitely.
Because Steve is neither. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Well, right now I'm half drunk, so
yeah, that's good.
Could have been another father.
That's good. All right. Yeah, hilarious. That's I am your father, Leah.
Oh my God.
Hey, where is Susan right now? What is she doing? Is she rolling her eyes at you?
Who knows? She's probably in the hot tub at this point. Dinner's over. She's probably down at the hot tub listening to some 38 special.
Yeah.
Chilling out. Dan.
Yeah. Is she gonna pwn
average white person music?
Is she gonna pwn you?
I can only hope so.
Oh my God.
You bring the word.
Yep.
We look it up.
Yep, that's right. That's dangerous. Okay, well, listen, guys, I want to thank everybody for watching the Sports Porch here on Facebook, live on social media, and let you know we're going to drop the podcast right after the show, so you can catch it on iHeart, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. And do us a favor, if you listen to the podcast, please subscribe. We would love that, and leave us a review. We would love to hear your thoughts on the show. We really enjoy this. We're so grateful and happy that you guys have stuck with us through the years. We have some big things coming in the next 2 months, huge, that we're going to be announcing.
Oh my goodness, we're going to be so busy.
Yeah,
that'll blow your mind.
That's gonna.
We're gonna pwn you.
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, it's gonna be. There's gonna be pwning everywhere. It's gonna be pwning. I hope I don't get in trouble. Well, that's not a swear word.
No, and actually, the original definition was appropriate.
Yeah,
Which original definition?
Just owning somebody.
Oh, okay.
Just like,
I thought you were talking about the other definition. Yeah. Okay. I hope nobody looks that up. Please don't look that up. Well, if you do, you'll get a good laugh and maybe understanding and stop listening and watching, but that would be horrible. So we will be back next week. You're back in town next week, right?
Yeah. Or when are we going to do like predictions and stuff like that? Let's do a little tease here.
Yeah. I would say that do we have the first preseason game next week?
It's Friday, isn't it?
Thursday or Friday, the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah. I discount that game completely. So, okay. But
wait, what about the World Cup? We didn't even talk about the World Cup.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
The ladies are what? 1-0-1. Is that right?
Yeah.
1-0-1.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Totally.
And they play at 3 a.m. Anybody setting their alarms to get up 3 a.m.?
Not you. That's
not
sure.
me, but if I was you, I would.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to make it an all-nighter.
Make it an all-nighter.
Oh, I can tell.
Yep. I'm in all night. I'm up all night.
All right.
You know what? I'm gonna give a Hockey Jesus World Cup update at 5:30 a.m.
Go Julie Ertz.
I'm setting my alarm.
I like it.
And I want to remind you that you can hear the Buccos report on the Sports Porch podcast after every single Buccos game. And I'll raise the Jolly Roger as they blast their opponent into oblivion in the seas, mateys. And remember to find us on theporchislive.com, theporchislive.com, theporchislive.com. And if you don't come up here, we're going to make you walk the plank. I am your technical director, and I am out. Let's go, Bucks.
Peace.